Good evening, hockey fans, and welcome back into the neutral zone here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sport. We have got a good one in store for you here tonight. The World Juniors Tournament has come to a conclusion for 2026. And we've got a new champion on top for the first time in 14 years. Sweden taking the gold medal at World Juniors, beating Czechia 4-2 to claim the title. We will react to that. We'll go through. We will talk through the tournament as a whole. Lots to go through there in an international edition. But we're still going to keep things national as well, get you updated on everything going on in the NHL. It's been a busy week in the NHL. Freddie's got his power rankings updated for this week. We'll get you caught up there. And then we're going to have some fun tonight on the show. We each got to, over the holidays, get to go to some hockey games. We're going to tell some stories. We're going to react to some fun times that we had, memories that we made, all that, plus more coming up right here, right now on the neutral zone. So buckle up, strap it in, get ready to pound on that glass. Let's go. And good evening, hockey fans. Welcome one, welcome all. You have found your way back into the neutral zone here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. I am Adam. He is Freddie. We do this crazy thing every week. Freddie, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing awesome tonight, Adam. How are you doing, my man?
It has been a whirlwind. The holidays were busy. We're going to get into some of that a little bit at the end of the show tonight. It was a crazy holiday season. Got to take in a couple hockey games, got to take part in an event that I think everybody in my family is it's going to be one of those things that we're going to remember for probably the rest of our time, the rest of our lives. We're going to
That's what's so great about this sport. So many memories are made, and you can share these, whether you're a boy or a girl, a husband or a wife, everybody is a hockey fan. And they attract audiences from everywhere. And once you're hooked for life. And I am so glad. I can't wait for you to share some of these stories later on, Adam. I too attended a couple of games. In fact, one the other night as well. So yeah, we will swap some stories about our adventures. But yeah, the NHL is fantastic right now. Man, Colorado Avalanche lose 2 games in a row. Can you believe that?
I know.
It's 2026. Everything could happen.
We're gonna have to call out the dogs on them, I guess.
I know, man.
Are they pretenders now? All of a sudden, we're gonna have to discuss that. Oh, Cale Makar, fraud. I tell you.
Yeah. No. But yeah, so much. I mean, World Juniors, that was a fantastic tournament. And I love that it was, on U.S. soil, and I was able to watch a lot of the games at a reasonable time. There were some in the mornings that I tried to sneak in, on my lunch breaks or whatever. But yeah, fantastic tournament. and a great finish. And then we have Olympic rosters announced as well. There is so much going on in the world of hockey right now. I can't wait. Let's get this show rolling.
Let's get this rolling. Absolutely. Well, let's start things off the way we like to with every show. First of all, we want to say thank you to our sponsors, Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet, and also to Vital Apparel, the brand that not only fits great, but also promotes and donates to mental health research. Want to thank both of them for sponsoring not just this show, but all the shows on IE Sports Radio.
Yes, indeed.
Appreciate that. We want to say hello to everybody watching across YouTube and Twitter tonight as well. Thank you for tuning in and spending part of your Wednesday night with us. I see we've got the Blackhawks and Blues game going on in the background. We'll keep you updated on that. Apparently the game started and somehow the Blues managed to talk the refs into just letting them start the game at 1-0. I don't appreciate that, but we'll dive into that as we go. A busy night in the NHL tonight on the docket. 5 games on the docket tonight. A couple are underway. A few have finished. Let's dive into the scores for tonight, shall we?
Let's do it.
The first game tonight, the Dallas Stars, talking about them a little bit later on. They beat the Washington Capitals 4-1 tonight. So goals from Wyatt Johnson, Sam Steele, Roop Hintz got the empty netter. Radek Faksa got the goal, got the scoring started for Dallas. The lone Washington goal, and that one, Alex Ovechkin gets his 18th of the season. Just keeps making that record harder and harder and harder for anybody else to get to.
18 goals already for Ovechkin. I mean, I think he can reach 30 by the end of this season. It's quite possible and very doable that he can get to 30 goals this season.
I don't think that's out of the question at all. You're talking 12 more goals. You've got plenty of January left. You've got a few games in February. You know, the Olympic break takes out a lot of February, but there'll be a few games there. You've still got the entire month of March, and the calendar this year, you know, April, you're looking, the regular season goes halfway through April.
Yeah.
So it's entirely feasible. That's not out of line at all to call for 30 goals for Ovechkin. Not out of line at all. We mentioned the Blues already up 1-0 on the Blackhawks, and they're on a power play right now. So we'll see. That might become 2-0 here any second. Now we hope not. No. Meanwhile, in Montreal, the Canadiens are destroying the Flames 4-1, 7.5 minutes left in regulation on that one. And the Canadiens on a power play. So already up by 3 and a chance to make it 4 on that one.
Put that dagger away and they go right back to the top of the Eastern Conference, right?
Exactly. They get right up there. Out in Utah, we've got the Mammoth on top of the Senators 2-0. About 8 minutes left in the first period there. John Marino and Lawson Cruz, the goal scorers there for Utah. Utah in the news earlier today. I don't know if you saw this.
I just did,
hosting the Winter Classic next year. We got
2027 Winter Classic. I don't know if it's next year or the year after. But no, it will be next year.
It would be next year. It would be next year. I know, it's crazy to think.
I can't believe I forgot we're in 2026 already. That was just a week ago.
Already. I know. I know. But yeah, that's next year. That we got to talk about that Winter Classic a little bit too.
Yeah.
As some news and notes. For the second year in a row, not good ratings at all on the Winter Classic.
No, not on the television side, but from what I heard, those in attendance would give it 10 out of 10. So it translated well for those, but on TV, to be quite honest with you, I turned it off after the first period because I found something else a little bit more exciting to watch in that game. And the Rangers just blew them out.
The optics are just, we'll get into that a little bit more, but the optics were just odd. It sometimes quirky can work. This was a time where it just felt like quirky didn't work. And then later on tonight, round about the time that we'll be wrapping up tonight, we've got the All California show. The LA Kings getting ready to host the San Jose Sharks. Macklin Celebrini coming to Hollywood. to try to impress the stars there in Hollywood.
Oh, so, yeah, definitely. I mean, if it wasn't for our show tonight, Adam, I'd probably be at the game right now wanting to catch Macklin Celebrini and what he has done. And the Sharks tied for the Kings right now with 45 points, the last 2 wild card slots in the Western Conference.
It's a big one. It absolutely is a big one. So those are the NHL games in action tonight. But we're going to kind of turn our eye away from the NHL for just a minute here. And instead, we're going to talk some World Juniors because Sweden gets the gold medal in Minnesota at World Juniors. I'll be honest, I would not have had you told me before the tournament started. Well, heck, I think we talked about it before the tournament started. Right. I expected that it would be USA v Canada. That either the two of them would be playing for gold or they'd be playing for bronze.
Well, the U.S. had won back-to-back tournaments coming into this year, and the odds were that they had a great chance to three-peat and do it on American soil, which would have been amazing since this tournament, is being played in Minnesota. They didn't even make it to the medal rounds this year. That just shows you, how great these teams were. Outside of the bottom two, like anybody could have won. I mean, Czechia had a chance. Canada, they had chances as well. But Sweden did what it took, and they were the ones who came away champion with the gold medal.
Yeah, we'll dive into some of the surprising things a little bit, but let's just start, first of all, with Sweden winning the gold medal. For Sweden, it's 3rd gold medal overall in this tournament, first since 2012. And they win the game 4-2 over Czechia and really dominated in the game, really dominated in the game, got out to the big 3-0 lead very early, outshot Czechia 35-29 on the night. Got out to the early lead. Love Harnstam with 27 saves on the night for Team Sweden. Just a really well played game overall by Sweden.
Sweden played, they were fantastic all tournament, and they really had no flaws in their game. And, the 3-goal lead is the worst lead, the most dangerous lead to have in hockey. Almost got away, with that, Finland tying it or getting close, making it 3-2 late. That was very late within the last minute, and then they cap it off with the empty netter. But Sweden, it's been 14 years, you said, Adam, since they've last won. And I was taking a look at the rosters on that team that won it, in 2012, you said?
Yeah.
I'm just going to read a couple of names, just a couple. There's at least more than a half dozen that have been stars in the league. But we've got Kings backup goaltender Anton Forsberg, Philip Forsberg, Nashville Predators, Oscar Klefbom, John Klingberg, Ricard Raquel, Mika Zibanejad. I mean, a lot of talented star NHL players were on that team. So there's no wonder they won gold that year.
Yeah. A studded team for sure. And they've got, obviously they're not lack for talent this year. Anton Frondel, Blackhawks prospect, was named the player of the tournament for his job in the tournament overall. You had just excellent play up and down by the Swedes, though Czechia, the third period, gave them a run for their money. 18 shots in the third period in that game, in that gold medal game. So, credit definitely to Harnstam for making the bulk of his saves when they mattered the most. Gave up 2 in the third period, but was able to hold off the onslaught at the end.
Especially, in the most high pressured moments, gold medal game here in the final period. You got to maintain and hold on to that lead. And that puck probably looks like the size of a tic tac instead of a beach ball. So,
Yes.
nerves coming into play. Fantastic job. He did give up the late goal, but yeah, all around, man, Sweden, very dominant, and they're really good bunch of young kids on that team. A lot of great talent throughout all of the countries represented, but Sweden especially.
Time on ice for the defense too for Sweden. Leo Shalen Wallenius was on the ice for nearly half the game, 28 minutes in that one. You had Felix Carell with logging over 22 minutes. Felix Orkvist got nearly 20 minutes of ice time in that one with a +2 rating overall with 20 minutes of ice time. Sasha Boumediene with over 22 minutes of ice time and a +1 rating. So good job by the young defenseman of Sweden too in that one, in managing everything there and allowing Sweden to get that win, get those. But of course, you can't win without the scoring. You've got to be putting the puck in net. You had Kasper Hustavara open the scoring with the goal in the first period. You had with the first period goal there, and then also then in the second period, Victor Eklund gets the goal on that one as well to build things up. Sweden was in the penalty box quite a bit in that game. 4 penalties in that game, but held it off.
Yeah. And they were playing against a Czechia team too that just came off maybe one of their biggest wins in that surprise semifinal game against Canada. That, I don't know if you caught that one at all, Adam, but that was, in my opinion, that was the best game of the tournament. Was that Czechia Canada game in the semis to see who would play for the gold. Czechia really, they hung in there. They just didn't have, I think they just ran out of gas, and Finland was just a little too strong. But it's nice to see, some fresh blood. And that just makes me, want to crave the Olympics even more. Now, I want US obviously to come away with the gold. So I'm rooting really hard for them. But, Finland, another really good team in this tournament. Yeah.
In Czechia getting the silver. This is 4 years in a row now that Czechia has medaled in this tournament too. So they are really becoming you do not overlook Czechia at World Juniors. That is a program that is definitely playing well, is definitely doing well there.
Oh yeah. They've got that roster that they have there is loaded with NHL talent. There's a lot of guys on that team already who are prospects of some NHL teams. So they're producing players, and they're tough, man. They're gritty, and they have a little bit of like a swagger that I liked out of them. They weren't a pushover. They went in there and beat Canada. That's the game still that stood out to me the most with that Czechia team, is they had fight in them. 4 different lead changes that they had in that game, and Canada battled back, and they still overcame every single challenge that Canada threw out at them. And they got the timely goaltending as well. Sahash, really, I like his game. That's a Kings prospect. I'm really excited to see if we can have him on our team in a couple of years. Canada too. They were loaded with some high-end, NHL talent. Zane Parekh, the defenseman, he sets the Canadian World Junior defenseman points record with 13 points in the tournament. Michael Misa, another strong tournament as well. But I liked watching Gavin McKenna in higher-end competition than college hockey. And he still stood out to me like he's going to be the number 1 overall draft pick. What do you think?
I would agree. Yeah, it was nice to get him out of the NCAA for a little bit, just to confirm that, hey, yeah, this is we are seeing what we think we're seeing. And yeah, you put
Yeah.
him back with some of the best in the world, and he's still right there with it. So yeah, I would agree wholeheartedly with that. This is cemented for him that he's going to be number one. What were some of the other things that surprised you in this tournament overall?
Well, I think what really surprised me was that how bad Germany was in this tournament. We've seen them, slowly progress to be, a lot better. They've produced some NHL players as well. Obviously, Leon Draisaitl being the best, but they were playing for their lives. They were in the relegation game, and they did win that. So Denmark, unfortunately, was the team that suffers that fate. But I was really hoping the U.S. was going to play a little better. Kind of a surprise loss to Finland in that game.
Yeah,
I
would.
They were up 2-1 late in that game, or 2-1, and gave up 2 goals in like a minute, and then you go from 8 minutes from playing for a medal, and then you blow that lead in that short amount of time. It was tough.
It was, yeah, and you wind up with Team USA losing in overtime to Finland and getting knocked out and not even getting put in a position to even think about meddling. That Finland team, though, that was a team that oh, excuse me, you had to watch yourself around them. They knocked out the US. They took Sweden to a shootout.
Yes.
In the next round. Sweden very nearly got itself knocked out.
Yeah.
Before even getting to a position to medal.
Yeah, Finland was no joke.
So you had that going on there. Finland hanging with Sweden the entire time and tying that game and getting into overtime, getting to the shootout. So a good job by Finland, but yeah, I would agree. Very disappointing that the U.S. couldn't get itself into any kind of a medal position.
Yeah,
Canada then kind of said, "Okay, Finland, that you did a great job. We weren't expecting to be here in the bronze medal game. We're very sorry. We're going to take out our frustrations on you." It's nothing personal.
That they played Canada style hockey in that game. But to touch back on the U.S. real quick, I just didn't see anything. They weren't as dominant as they had been in previous years. The games were close. They had a couple of like lopsided wins, but no real dominance shown by them. And the failure to close out that game, and those are the most important games. You play the pool play to put, to see where you find yourself in the seeding. But the real tournament starts when you get to the quarterfinals. And, I was glad to see Cole Hudson come back and make an impact in that game. He was the one who suffered the injury, taking the shot to the head,
right,
and leaving by ambulance earlier in the tournament. And he made his comeback, and I felt bad for the guy because in the press conference, he's putting a lot of that weight on his shoulders. Like, I should have been better, but dude came out there and started the scoring his first game back after getting hit in the head. And but yeah. I think they have some work to do. I mean, they have so much talent. All these guys, though. I know. I don't know.
It was very surprising. To your point, it was very surprising that they wound up in a position where they even needed to come back against Finland. It was, you would have thought, okay, this should be they should be winning this one and just moving on. The other thing that was a little surprising that I saw people talking about was the overall attendance at the World Juniors was lower than they thought. It was in Minnesota, the state of hockey in the US, but I think they kind of, I wonder if they didn't shoot themselves in the foot a little bit there with that. The ticket prices were very high end, and a lot of them, it was simply, oh, here's a package to come to like, 6, 7, 8 games. It's I want to get to this one. Just get me to this one. I don't need to buy all these other ones. So I do think they made it harder than they needed to be for people to get to this.
Yeah, I noticed that as well. I never saw the actual, numbers of the attendance, but there were times when the arena looked a little sparse, I don't know. I mean, you're in the holidays. You just got out of it started right after Christmas. You're going through New Year. People are traveling. There's other things going on as well. The weather in Minnesota wasn't the greatest either, I don't think. And
Hey, it was what it was, but
trust me, if that's coming to my town, I'm going to be there and I'm going to watch it. And I'm sure if it's close to Chicago, that you would probably try to attend a game or two.
We'd figure out a way. We would figure out a way to make it happen. Absolutely, we would. Absolutely. But it's one of the, it's one of those things that it's too. Sometimes they get a little too. Sometimes the organizers will get a little too cute with things like this, and you wind up just hurting yourself and shooting yourself in the foot. You think that you can take advantage of something when just do it the way you've done it.
Another thing too, Adam, is hockey is really Canada's national game. And from the time you're born, that's what you learn to do is play hockey. And that's their World Juniors means a lot to their country, where in the United States, it may not mean as much to the casual fan. So that could have a lot to play as well. Maybe they just didn't market it, that enough. I saw commercials for college hockey a lot as the tournament was going on, but I never really saw anything about, USA hockey or anything like that.
Yeah, the U.S. development. The other thing that I was seeing about in regards to that, you were not having a lot of people come down across the border from Canada into Minnesota. And probably most likely for political reasons, but I kind of, okay, I could kind of see where that would be the case too. No, we're going to stay here and just watch on TV. Thanks. We're not going to bother coming down. So I think that played a factor in it a little bit too, but still a very good tournament overall. You always know it's the holidays when World Juniors are going on. Congratulations to Team Sweden winning the gold medal. 3rd overall, first time in 14 years. Congratulations to Team Sweden.
Yeah. Congratulations.
All right. Before we take a break, I know this is one of your favorite things to do.
Yes.
Because we're gonna kind of have a laid back end of the show. So let's do this now while we're still we've got our focus, we've got everybody's attention. Let's dive into the power rankings. Now, you've got some controversy right here out of the gate with your power rankings, because you do these as a top 10, but right out of the gate you have 2 teams tied for 10. I'm sorry, I don't a top 11. That's not how 10 works.
You know what? I had one in there, and then I watched the game last night. My top the number 10 team I have is Vegas/Seattle. I had to throw Seattle in there, and I had to throw Vegas in there just because they're the 2 teams atop the Pacific Division right now. Seattle's won 4 in a row. They're looking pretty dominant, and when you're playing up in that place, at Climate Pledge Arena, that's a tough place to play a road game. And Seattle's doing fantastic. They killed Boston last night, put up 7 goals on the Bruins. And that kind of, they're on that border, to make that top 10. They could be out of it again. They can go on another 10-game losing streak like they had earlier in the season. But I wanted to put them in there. And Vegas really hasn't shown me anything as of late. They did come back and beat the Jets last night, but we're talking about the Jets, who are the worst team in the NHL right now. They had like 1 shot in the second period, and just I don't know what's going on with them. But Vegas, everybody in the Pacific right now is all jumbled up within 2 or 3 points of each other.
Yes. Oh yeah. It is a tight, jumbled up, bundled up mess out in the Pacific right now. So coming in at number 10, Vegas and Seattle tied for 10.
Tied for 10. Is that okay?
For 1 week, I suppose we'll allow it.
I
suppose we'll make an exception for this week. Why not? I suppose.
All right.
I
Thank you, Adam.
suppose. You're welcome. Coming in at number 9, then they are in there all by themselves. We're not having any more ties in
No.
this.
You know
The
what?
NHL did away with ties a few years ago.
Flyers, baby. Gosh, they are fun to watch as well. Another one of those teams with a lot of youth. And I watched as much of that game last night as I could. They were playing the Ducks, and we know what happened between the Flyers and Ducks with Cutter Gauthier, not wanting to play for Philadelphia, and then everything that happened with Trevor Zegras and Anaheim. And those guys put on a show last night. Cutter Gauthier started the scoring, and then Trevor Zegras comes back and he scores and he hangs up the phone. And then the press conference, his game interview afterward was just, he spoke from the heart, and
Mm-hmm.
I never really cared for the guy when he was in Anaheim. That's mostly because, I'm not a huge Ducks fan, obviously.
Right.
But what he's done this year, he's transformed his game. There were talks that maybe he could be like one of the top, 3 or 4 reserves for the Olympic team. I don't think he was going to ever make it, but his play, if he could play like this, he might be on that team in 4 years. And what the Flyers are doing right now, they're hanging tough in the Metro. They're fighting with Carolina and the Islanders to see who's in first place.
They certainly are, and they're keeping things interesting. And it's you got the Taylor Swift effect going on there. There's bad blood between those teams. And you always
Love
like
it.
that. Sport. When you got that in sports, it makes it more.
And that's
fun.
that's
it always makes it fun.
What was crazy too is you have two teams on the opposite coast of each other. And both teams are wearing orange. It was just a really spirited, emotional game. You saw it on both ends. The fans in Philadelphia booing every time Gauthier touched the puck. And then when Zegras scored, that place was rocking. And Philadelphia fans should be happy right now because they have a good thing right now with those Flyers.
They do. They definitely do. All right, moving on. Next up, we are at number 8, the New York Islanders.
Yeah, they keep impressing me and winning big games, and they're getting the solid goaltending. Like I said before, David Rittich has been playing pretty well in net, but they're Matthew Schaefer. You have the Calder Trophy winning team, and he may even get Norris. I don't think he'll get Norris votes because there's a lot better defensemen right now in the league. But what I've seen out of this young kid, and then what we talked about last show when Matthew Barzal stood up for him and retaliated as they were taking shots at him. That was really what turned the tide for me with the Islanders. They're showing character, they're playing for one another, and that's something that we really haven't seen this team do in quite a while. And they can score from everywhere on the ice. I really enjoy watching the Islanders play.
Yeah, they're protecting Schaefer. The protection that they're affording for an 18-year-old kid that we're seeing at this point. It's really impressive. 129 goals scored on the season, doing a good job of getting the puck in net, and Matthew Schaefer having an effect right away with the Islanders. Now coming in at number 7. The Minnesota Wild, a team you got to see up close and in person here earlier this week. They're 3rd in the Central right now, but they're nipping on Dallas's heels.
Yeah, they're nipping on Dallas. Dallas has had a little bit of a struggling patch over the last 10 games. They did, pick up a win tonight. But, Minnesota's dropped a little bit, but I got to watch them live and in person, and what I really focused on was Quinn Hughes. Yeah, my daughter and I had a debate the other night as saying, if Quinn Hughes was on the Colorado Avalanche instead of Cale Makar, would Quinn Hughes be the best defenseman in the league? He's second fiddle to Cale Makar, it seems like, the last 3 or 4 years. And it made me think, I was watching him out there, and the way he could skate, the way he can move the puck, the way he can elude checks and find people with his passing. all tools. I mean, he's got everything, and he's fast. I think he might be better than Cale Makar after watching him live and in person. Now, that being said, Minnesota's got a pretty good team as well. Kaprizov is doing great. Matt Boldy, Matt Zuccarello, they've got some really good guys. The goaltending has kind of struggled a little bit. Jesper Wallstedt had that hot start with the 4 shutouts. But the goaltending has kind of been suspect, and they gave up a lot of goals to my Kings, who are one of the worst offensive teams in the league. They gave up 4 goals in both games to the Kings. So still a really good team. They're going to battle in that Central. They're locked into a playoff spot.
I would agree. I would agree wholeheartedly with that barring catastrophe happening, they are going to be in the playoffs. All right, then coming in at number 6, the Detroit Red Wings.
Yeah,
right now, as we sit here right now, sitting 3rd in the Atlantic, but tied with Montreal. Montreal has a game in hand there, and only a point behind the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Yeah, Detroit. There's no letdown in their game right now. We thought, the goaltending might start, with Talbot and Gibson. They're still producing in net. And they're 2nd right now in the Eastern Conference of the playoff teams with wins in overtime and regulation. So if there's ever a tiebreaker, Detroit is sitting in a good spot right now. They're still getting fantastic offensive play. Dylan Larkin and, Patrick Kane lately putting up some offensive numbers as well. And then I talk about him every week. Mo Sider, that guy is incredible. There's so many great defensemen in the NHL, and he's just one of them. They're continuing to keep pace. Tampa Bay is obviously taking the lead, but Detroit's still up there. Really good team.
My one concern, if you will, from an analytics standpoint with Detroit is upside down in its goal differential. The Red Wings have given up 5 more goals than they've scored. That to me is an area where it's all right. Something I'm not calling them frauds as I hear the Red Wings fans going, as a Blackhawks fan, call the Red Wings frauds. Oh, no, I can get myself to there, but I'm trying to stay out of that headspace right now. It is just something where it's all right. Something's got to give here. You can't continue to give up goals at the clip that they are and continue to win games. We'll see a course correction, one or the other. They're either going to start losing games or the defense is going to pick up one or the other.
Yeah, well, you compare them to a team. You compare them to the team that's leading the division, Tampa Bay Lightning. They have a plus 34 goal differential. So those teams can light the lamp. Meanwhile, you look in the Pacific Division in the Western Conference, and not one team has a positive goal differential.
Yes.
Edmonton is at a 0. They're even.
They're the best. Yeah,
they're the best at even.
Nothing.
Everybody else has negative. And so, you could throw that stat out the window. They're winning the games that they need to win, and they're picking up points. If they can continue to do that, it's been known where teams have had negative goal differentials and make the playoffs. But Detroit, I think, could clean that bit up a little bit.
Yes, yeah, it's something to keep an eye on. It's something to be aware of.
Great point, Adam. Great point. We'll keep an eye on that.
Yep. Coming in at number 5, they played earlier. They're playing tonight. They're all things going well for them in Montreal.
They're staying pace with Detroit and Tampa Bay in that division and putting up 4 goals again tonight. Lane Hudson picking up another one, his 8th of the year. And who's the goalie now of choice in Montreal? It looks like Sam Montembeault might be the guy. He had that rest, when he was sent down for a conditioning stint. But now that he's been back, he's been fantastic in goal. They're getting great defense, and offensively, they're up there as well. They're plus 5, I think it is, on the goal differential. But Martin St. Louis has those guys playing really good hockey, and them in Detroit, the 2 bubble teams last year, legitimate teams, I think, this year, and I think both teams will end up making the playoffs. There's so many good teams. A team that was in the playoffs last year, maybe two teams aren't going to be in there at the end of the year in the Eastern Conference.
I would agree. The Eastern Conference is, just because it's sitting this way right now, it could be almost completely upside down here in just a couple of weeks. That's how tight so many of these teams are right now in the East, especially that Metro division. My gosh, they're still just crazy jam-packed in there. So
the Eastern Conference is all separated again by what? 55 being the most, and Columbus
40,
at 43.
43.
So
yeah, it's
Columbus
is starting to taper, but yeah, it wouldn't take much. It wouldn't take much to shake things up. That's for darn sure.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, as I was trying to change the color and nothing happened. Let's try that again. Coming in then next at number 4, if I just get the color to change and it's not wanting to, the Dallas Stars, a team I got to see up close and personal on New Year's Day, and I'll be talking a little bit more about a little later on. A team that is bumpy a little bit right now. The Dallas Stars.
Yeah, a little bit. I think they were 4-2 over their last 10, and they did pick up a win tonight on the road in Washington. That's a tough place to play. So big win for the Stars there. And if they could string some wins together, Colorado, they've lost 2 in a row. This could be their chance to make up some ground on the Avs. I don't know. Dallas will turn it around. They're fine. Still got great defense, great goaltending, and Wyatt Johnson picking up his 24th today. Jason Robertson having a great year. Dallas is in a good spot. The only reason I dropped them was just because of a bad 2 weeks of hockey that they played.
They have had a rough couple of weeks. Yes. They, losing to the Blackhawks on New Year's Day, then turning around and losing to the Canadians in overtime after that. The Hurricanes rough them up. Maybe tonight gets them off the schneid a little bit.
They had two losses to the Blackhawks as well in that mix.
That's right. Yeah, they lost in a shootout to the Blackhawks, and the Blackhawks were not playing good hockey during that stretch. That was very surprising. They turn around. They've got the Sharks in San Jose Saturday afternoon. Then they stay in California. They take on the Kings next week, and then the Ducks next week as well. So 3 games. We'll see how much they've turned this around, or are they still kind of floundering a little bit here?
It's not teams when they come to the West Coast now. It's not an easy California trip with the Ducks and the Sharks being, as good as they have been this year. The Ducks obviously, they're in a tailspin, but losers of 7 in a row. They dropped out of my power rankings fast, and they're continuing to fall right now. But it's not an easy trip for Dallas. We'll see what they can do. I think 4 points would be considered a good trip of those 3 games.
Yeah, you'd like to see Dallas kind of right the ship a little bit there on that trip. All right, coming in at number 3, a team that just seems to always be righting the ship and just leveling themselves off, the Carolina Hurricanes.
Hurricanes keep doing it. Yeah, they've won 2 in a row, and they get Seth Jarvis back, which is a huge boost. Missing him for that amount of time, they do get his offensive talent back, and I think that Carolina, big game the other night, they blew the lead against Colorado. That was that retro Whalers Nordiques game again. I loved watching that one on TV. Oh my gosh,
that looked so good.
It was so good,
so good.
But they've turned it around. They're Carolina's so good. I still think they're one of the top 2 teams in the Eastern Conference. And the only team that's better than them right now is the team that we have at number 2, Tampa Bay Lightning, winners of 8 in a row. And they're still hurt. They've got guys on the mend, but they're continuing to win. And they lead right now. They're tied with Carolina in the East with 55 points. And, really, they beat Colorado. the other night. That was a huge
Mm-hmm.
win for Tampa Bay, and I like what I see out of them offensively. It's hard to stop Kucherov. He's like,
Yes. Yes, it is.
people still don't talk about him as enough. I don't think as like a McDavid or McKinnon or Draisaitl. Cooch is still just as good of a player as he was, and he still produces. And with Braden Point and Brandon Hagel, Jake Getzel, they've got a lot of scoring firepower, and they're going to be fun to watch. They struggled to start the season, but they're starting to build momentum. And when you have a coach like John Cooper behind the bench, he can, he knows how to get those boys in line, and Tampa Bay's showing it right now.
He knows how to push the buttons. He knows how to get them operating. That's for darn sure. So yeah, having Tampa Bay, you go on an 8-game winning streak, and yes, that's gonna vault you. That's gonna get everybody's attention very quickly. Yeah, the Tampa Bay Lightning coming in at number 2, and then still the number 1 team, even though they did finally start to lose some games, turning the calendar over to 2026 has not been kind for them yet. The Colorado Avalanche still coming in at number 1.
Yeah, the Colorado. I mean, and it's hard to go into playing those 2 Florida teams. The Panthers are gonna beat you up, and they're physical, and they're a little gritty, and they're dirty. And then Tampa Bay is kind of that same style. We don't see that kind of hockey played very much in the Western Conference as you see in those 2 Florida teams, and it shows because they've been in the Cup, the last 6 years. Colorado kind of got bullied around a little bit. They were in the games, but those teams put a good beat down on them. They still lead in goaltending with Mackenzie Blackwood and Scott Wedgwood, the 2 top goalies in the league right now in goals against average. And then you have Nathan McKinnon at 74 points, still leading the way, and K.O. McCarr leading the defenseman with 48 points. There's no drop off there. 2 little games, but these are games that you want to probably lose now instead of later on in the season. This is something that Colorado, they'll go back home and they'll probably, pull off another 6-game streak of wins, scoring 5 goals a game.
Yeah. Yeah. And they've got coming up too, they've got the Senators tomorrow night and then the Blue Jackets on Saturday. I think they'll figure out a way to get 4 points out of those 2 games.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think so too. Hello to Mikey Two Guns, by the way, watching the show on YouTube. He's Boston, so the Bruins putting him through the ringer this year. Yeah, they up and down, up and down, up and down with the Bees this year.
Yeah, up and down, up and down. I think a lot of it has to ride on Jeremy Swayman, unfortunately, and he's not he was, made it to the Team USA team for goaltenders, but I don't think he's that great of a goaltender, to be honest with you. And they really don't have any other options in Boston. Morgan Geeky's having a fantastic season, and David Pastrnak doing his thing. But Boston, I think they peaked a little bit. They had a bright moment about a month ago, and then they've kind of, they're going through the motions. Being the worst team in the league last year, they're doing just fine right now. And then in the Eastern Conference, you go on a streak, and you could be right back in the middle of it. So Mikey Two Guns, if the Bruins can put something together, they might be back in there.
Yeah, I was going to say they're next to last in the Atlantic, but they're all of 3 points from being in 4th place and being in a playoff position. So yeah, you just have yourself a good couple of weeks and don't get too discouraged, figure out a way to stop the bleeding overall. And they're right back. They're right back there. They're right back in it.
So many good teams. I mean, Toronto is playing a lot better. The Rangers are starting to play better. The Buffalo Sabres, we didn't even talk about, had a 10-game winning streak.
That absurd winning streak from Buffalo. Absolutely.
So, I mean, we're seeing everything right now. So, yeah, I mean, you could be in it, you can be out of it. And right now, Boston is out of it.
Yeah, right now they're out of it, but it would not take a whole lot for Boston to get themselves back in it for sure. Well, we're going to take for ourselves a quick break. And then on the flip side, coming out of the holidays, we both had some opportunities to take in some games and do some hockey related fun over the holidays. And we thought we'd close out the show tonight, kind of just telling some stories from the holiday season. Stay right where you are. We will be right back. You are tuned into the Neutral Zone here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. We'll be right back after this. IE Sports Radio fans, this show is brought to you by Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. Planet Jerky is the official jerky of the 2022 California League champion Lake Elsinore Storm, Single A affiliate of the San Diego Padres. This all brisket jerky has gluten-free options, contains no MSG, no sodium nitrate, is low in sugar, and high in protein. Go to their website at planetjerky.net and follow them on Instagram at Planet Jerky. Planet Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet.
Rise and shine. It's 4 a.m. The stars are still out. The sun is beneath the horizon, but it's time to punch in and go to work. The comfort of your warm-ups turns into the grinding out of your reps as the clinking and the clanking of the plates create a symphony of euphoria. There's no other feeling like it. Earn it, burn it, and take what's yours. IE Sports Radio has proudly partnered with Vital Apparel, a brand that not only fits great, but also promotes and donates to mental health research. Use our code IESR to get 15% off their comfortable and inspiring gym wear and help them on their amazing journey to support mental health. Go hard, take part in your iron therapy, and be strong. Because when your mental health is as strong as you are, there's no telling how far you'll go. For the last 10 years, IE Sports Radio has been bringing you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes, coaches, and other authorized media personnel to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. Make sure to follow us at IE Sports Radio on X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube to keep up with the latest in sports and with all of our shows. Also, make sure to check out our daily updated website at iesportsradio.com. At iesportsradio.com, you can see our daily show schedule and check out all of our show pages with personal bios to learn a little bit more about each of our awesome hosts. In addition to our show pages, you can catch the IE Sports Radio blog, Hall of Fame, Fans of the Month page, and our merchandise shop including t-shirts, tank tops, caps, long sleeves, hoodies, and more. For now over a decade here at IE Sports Radio, we've continued to be by the fans, for the fans, and we thank you all for your support and for making IE Sports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports.
And welcome back on into the Neutral Zone here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. He is Freddie B. I am Adam Karnik. Together we do this crazy thing called the Neutral Zone every week. We basically sit down and talk about hockey for, however, an hour or so, depending on however long our stories and stats go for the evening. So we wanted to kind of do things a little differently tonight. The holidays season is officially done. We are through New Year's. We now have, depending on what your particular work calendar is, you might have a day off coming here in a couple weeks, or it might be you're now slogging all the way through till Memorial Day till your next one.
Oh, man.
So, but for both of us, we had the opportunities over the holidays to take in some hockey games from the stands. So we thought it'd be kind of fun to spend the end of the show tonight kind of going through those experiences. So I'll go first. I'll start us off. We got to go to a couple different games. We went to the PWHL game in Chicago. This was the Sunday before Christmas. We got to go. The PWHL doing its annual takeover tour. Then they are going, oh my goodness, they have been bouncing all around North America. They've been in Dallas, they've been in Chicago, they've been in Halifax, they've been in Toronto, they've been all kinds of different places. They're getting ready to be in Detroit. They're coming back to Chicago here in a couple of weeks, a bunch of different places. Well, we managed to go see my daughter, with my wife's family being from Minnesota and all of her family still living in Minnesota. My wife, my daughter has somewhat adopted the Minnesota Frost as her team. And so when I saw that the Minnesota Frost were going to be part of this trip to Chicago, it was
no brainer.
We're doing this. This is a no brainer. We're going. And it made it even better that the Bears played the night before. So I didn't even have to give up a Bears game to go see the Frost out at Allstate Arena. We had a blast. It was a great time. Great matchup between Minnesota and Ottawa. It was a rematch for the Walter Cup final from over the summer. Unfortunately, for my daughter's sake, Ottawa came out on top. We did not get to see Minnesota win, but we had a great time. It was a very interesting atmosphere being in what was a neutral ice game. It was an interesting in that respect. Now there were some players on both teams that were from the Chicago area, so they had friends and family that were there. So there were people that were very much cheering for the teams. Very much. We managed to find ourselves in a pretty heavy Minnesota section. So when Minnesota scored, not only were we cheering, there were a lot of people around us cheering as well. But Ottawa was well represented in the game too.
That's great. And that's kind of tough too. And they're trying to build the game and expand. They are going to be expanding the league, and putting it in these major cities where I think they're going to be expansion. What was the turnout like as far as the attendance go? Was it about
that? That was very interesting. Now, this game was played at Allstate Arena, not at United Center where the Blackhawks play. This is at Allstate Arena. The Rockford Ice Hogs, part of the American Hockey League,
right?
They play their games there. That's their home arena. It was actually, for the takeover tour, it was the lowest attended of this season of all the takeover tour spots that they've had. And it's one of the lowest attendance numbers they've had in the takeover tour as a whole. The lower bowl was basically filled. There were little, like the seat next to us happened to be empty.
Okay.
So that's where I dumped all of our coats and things like that. There were little spots like that, but you didn't have any pockets in the lower bowl where, oh my gosh, there's 20 seats that nobody sold. They sold out the lower ring. But then the upper bowl, you had 3 sections where there were fans, and there were pockets in each of those where it was, nobody bought those tickets. And then all the way around, you could see, they just never made those available. The arena as a whole was about half full.
Okay. And Adam, I think I asked you off air, but how did they do any kind of promotion, or did you see commercials or anything promoting this event ahead of time?
That was something that I would definitely, my wife actually got to bumped into some of the promoters, and that was something, had I been there, it would have been, hey, I am somebody that listens daily to Chicago Sports Talk Radio. Yeah. I heard nothing about it leading into the event. Okay, I get it that you're not necessarily going to be finding your way onto the shows, not having somebody sit down and actually put it on the show, but some ad space, just, hey, hub it up. We're on December 21st. Come out to Allstate Arena to check out the Minnesota Frost versus the Ottawa Charge. Part of the PWHL Takeover Tour. We know that Chicago's got a great hockey tradition. We love to bring it here. Something like that. There was
family 4-packs, hot dog, drink, 4 tickets, $40. Come to the game.
Whatever. Whatever. Yeah, there was nothing like that to promote it ahead of time too. So that's something that they could have improved upon, in my opinion. They are doing another one in Chicago. It'll be interesting to see what the attendance numbers are for that one compared to the one in December, because we are out of the holidays now. I'm double checking when that game will be as I pull that up.
Yeah, you pull that up, but just to go off and continue with the PWHL real quick, they're heating up right now, and some of these games and these highlights I have been watching are outstanding. There's hits that are happening. The hitting is picking up. There's trash talking on the ice now. We're seeing this thing kind of get to an elevated status where, it's exciting. It would be fun to go to and take your family to watch these women who, hockey's a demanding and physical sport. We all know that, and to put their bodies through what they're doing, it takes tremendous skill. And
the next one coming to Chicago is in March 25th, which is a Wednesday night. It'll be Seattle versus New York. So it will be interesting to see from an attendance standpoint. It'll be interesting to see how well that one does compared to the one that was in December, because that was a comment that a lot of people made, which is, man, this was the Sunday before Christmas. Yeah, people were going to be busy. So it'll be interesting to see how the one in March does in Chicago. So that was our first one. But then we managed to have a second one on New Year's Day. And this was full on. This was, we spent the day at United Center. We got there round about noon. My daughter had the opportunity to take part in a charity hockey game at United Center on New Year's Day. Now, my daughter's been skating for about a year and a half. My sister-in-law, who got my daughter started on all this in the first place, got her started in her hockey journey in the first place, found out about this. It's benefiting a group called Pucks for Autism. Great group, great bunch of people. They do charity games in different arenas all around North America, and it's obviously to raise awareness for autism.
That's a great cause too.
Which is a fantastic
100
cause.
Yes.
Well, this was the first event, and it's normally adults getting the opportunity to have, kind of like a game of a lifetime kind of a thing.
Like a beer league game on a professional surface. Exactly.
With custom hockey sweaters and everything.
Oh, heck yeah.
This was for kids. It was the first time ever they had done it strictly for youth. And we're looking for mites. We're looking for the 8Us. We're looking for the 10Us. I think that's where they capped it off. Was it 10 and under for it? My daughter was absolutely the least experienced out on the ice. A lot of the people who were there were obviously from a couple of the different Chicago kids leagues in the area. We came from a couple hours away. We were the ones that easily came from the furthest away, but everybody was great. My daughter's out there in her pink hockey socks, and everybody was loving that. Was just
I'm sure, man.
The pink socks. Oh yeah, the pink socks. Oh, she's doing great. Give her time. She's doing all the right things.
That's
the
awesome.
Kid got to go into one of the locker rooms at United Center and change in there. They had a nameplate above their stall, so they got to.
Oh, it was official.
It was official, which we got to then keep that. So we've got her name. We've got her nameplate, and that's getting put up above the bedroom for her.
Oh, Adam, please share photos and videos. I would love to see this.
Oh, I will be spamming all over with stuff like that. Come out on the ice. The kids get the full-on treatment. They play the hype music. They got to do the anthem with the recording of the Blackhawks anthem singer. Anytime one of the kids scored, they'd play the horn. They were running the scoreboard. They had the cameras zooming in on because the Blackhawks play that night. So the camera crew was taking advantage. Hey, we got to be running this stuff anyway. Sure, they're zooming in. They're putting the kids on the Jumbotron. The kids they're pulling out their best sellies after they score. They were hamming it up. The parents, we were loving every second of it. We're just kicking back and watching our kids make these amazing memories. They played the full length of the ice, which my daughter got off the ice and she's like, that was a big sheet of ice, Dad. That was a lot of ice to skate on. They all were dog tired. The best part was, they're in shifts, they're in lines. They got to like the last 5 minutes or so of the game, and the coaches just said, everybody on the ice. Everybody on the ice. So you've got 30 kids out there and one puck. And it was sheer pandemonium. The best was one of the kids too got it in his mind that he envisions himself as an enforcer. At one point, the play stopped. He dropped his gloves and equipment and began shadow boxing. He wasn't looking to start anything with anybody. That wouldn't have been appropriate. But he was no. I'm out here. He was doing his, I get to fight whomever it was. I didn't get to bump into him, ask him and who he was fighting, but he was shadow boxing. He was doing his, I'm a Blackhawk and I'm defending this. It was great. His parents were just in front of us and they were, that's my kid. That's my kid. He told us he wanted to do this. And we started cheering for him and everything. It was fantastic.
That's so much fun.
And then we got to stay and watch, the game. The crew at United Center couldn't have been better during the whole thing. They took great care of us as my son was bound and determined to go everywhere he wasn't supposed to go. They told us, hey, try to keep within these 3 sections. He immediately took off for one of the places they didn't want him going. They said, hey, you can sit anywhere, just not in the front row. He immediately goes in the front row and makes a dash for the penalty box, which they had open because they were working. He managed to get himself in there, looked up, and they looked at him and saw me and immediately smiled, and everything's cool. He looked up and you could tell his face went, oh, I've made a mistake.
You don't want to end up in there.
No, I don't want to be here. I just looked at it and I said, you stay here, they're going to put you to work. Dad, get me out. Yeah. Okay, here we go. So, but then we got to stick around for the game then as the Stars took on the Blackhawks on New Year's Day. Tremendous game. We had a ton of fun. And the Hawks won, which was the surprising part for me.
Cherry on top, man.
That was the cherry on top. I was warning my daughter the whole time. It was now the Stars are really good, and the Blackhawks, as you know, are struggling right now because Bedard's hurt. Are we going to see Bedard? No, we're not going to see Bedard. We're not going to see Bedard tonight. But the Hawks came out with energy especially to start the second period. They came out on fire and dominated in the second period, and Dallas could not stay out of the box. That was Dallas's undoing in that game, was the Stars could not stay out of the box, and the Hawks took advantage of being on the power play. Their first 2 goals were both on the man advantage, and they played lights out. They played an excellent game.
No better feeling than when you go to the game and your team is victorious as well. You know, that way the car ride home, you're in a good mood. You're not all pissed off, sitting in traffic for an hour or 2 hours, whatever it is to get back home. But
that's my 5th time going to United Center for a Hawks game. It's the first time I've actually seen them win.
Oh man.
I thought I was the curse. I went to Detroit and watched them win one time, but I'd never seen them win at United Center. I thought I was the jinx. Apparently we brought the kids along, and that was enough to outdo it.
That is awesome, Adam. That's just a fantastic story from start to finish. I mean, and your kids, I mean, they were probably, just over the moon, as well. And so much fun at the hockey games. The music's bumping and you're dancing in the seats and the action, and
they were dancing before the game. They were dancing during the game. My son somehow had the energy to dance after the game. I don't know how. My daughter was just over the moon because she got a Connor Bedard puck. She got all kinds of, we got all the souvenirs, and of course you can't go to a game and not get ice cream. We can't go somewhere and not get ice cream, Dad. So
yeah, good, man. That's what you should be doing, and spending these times and making those memories with your kids. That's incredible. Now, how do you top that one? That's what
that's your job. You get to do that now. You get to do that.
Oh man. Yeah, like you were saying, I was able to get to I think I got to 2 games over the holidays, to be honest with you. I don't remember which the other game. I've been to a few games this year, but anyway, I wanted to go to the game tonight, which is the Sharks in LA, and I wanted to see Macklin Celebrini, and obviously I wanted to do the show as well. So I went on an old forum that I used to go and frequent and was a huge contributor to many, many moons ago, called letsgokings.com. And for poops and giggles, I just wanted to see, there were some forums, there were people who would list some tickets. And I said, you know what, let's just see if anybody has any tickets for sale. And there was one person, Pat, Hockey Grandma. Thank you so much. I tweeted her I just messaged her the link. So I said I was going to give you a shout out on this show. Had a post on there, and she said 2 free lower bowl tickets for Monday's game. I was like, okay, well, I wasn't really planning on going Monday, but I'm off of work Monday. If I can score these free tickets, I think I'll just go Monday, right? It turns out that not only were they lower bowl tickets, but they also came with valet parking, and it was so nice. I was just able to pull up to the arena and get in early. My daughter all year has wanted to get to warmups, and unfortunately, I live in miles, maybe 70 miles from Los Angeles. But in the amount of time, it could take me 2.5 hours. I try to leave at 5 for a 7:30 game, and I get there right at puck drop. But I didn't work on Monday, so I told Sydney, my daughter, I'm like, you know what, we're gonna leave early, and we're gonna do the best we can, get there on time. And we were one of the very first ones into the arena. Doors open, I think it was 6:30. No, 6. I don't know, whatever it is. About an hour before the game. And we get there, and she runs right down to the section where she wanted to go. She brought a sign. I'll have to show it. I don't have it. I posted it on social media, but It says, I pick Clark, I pick Clark, I pick Puck with a question mark. Slaps it on the glass, and she's waiting for the warm-ups to happen. And we're right by the bench and right on the glass. We got there such a good time, and practice is going on. We're getting videos, and all the players are skating by, and everybody in the lower bowls got signs. And with the Kings, I don't know if that's the same with the Blackhawks, but a lot of the fans like to trade and give gifts to some of the guys before a game. They'll maybe get a puck in return.
Yep.
And she had her sign there, and then sure enough, Brant Clark comes. He's doing his little stick work, comes and tosses her the puck. Huge smile on his face, bangs on the glass, and pointed to her sign. And she reaches up, catches it, and the amount of joy that she had. She's like, Dad, this is the best day of my life. I was like, yeah, it was like, I finally was able to get you here, and I knew this. I would told you this is going to happen. It's going to be a good thing. We're also 0-3 going to games this year, so I'm like, I think tonight's going to be a different night. I wore a different jersey. She wore a different outfit, and the game went on. Kings go on to win. But late, before the last media timeout, about the 5-minute mark in the game, I was talking to one of the ushers, and I said, you know what? There's a couple of seats, a couple rows from the glass. Is it cool if we go down there and sit to watch the end of the game? He's like, yeah, go right ahead. So we go down there, and the Kings are up 3-2. They get an empty net goal with about 2.5 minutes left. And the couple in front, on the glass, front row, they get up and leave, and they go, hey, you guys can sit right here. And we're like, oh, sweet. So watch the last 2 or 3 minutes of the game on front row, on the glass, action right in front of us. Get to see, all of our Kings favorites and the Minnesota Wild Stars. Watching Quinn Hughes from right there. Come on. Kaprizov, watching those guys, how fast they are and how skilled. And the Kings go on and win the game. When the Kings do the 3 stars of the game afterward, and they all go they get the top 3 players of the game will sign a stick, and they'll skate it around the arena and toss it to somebody in the audience. Well, the 3rd star of the game, Brian Dumoulin, comes skating out, and he goes and gives it to a kid about two people away from us, 2 seats away from us. I'm like, oh, that's so cool. Good for that little boy. They try to give it to the kids. And then the next person comes out. It was Darcy Kemper, and he skates around, and he tosses his stick to somebody on the other side of the rink. And the number 1 star of the game was Andrei Kuzmenko. And I don't know if you know much about him, but this dude, he plays with such spirit. He's such a funny guy, always has a smile on his face. I really like him, and he's starting to produce too, which is even better. He's the 1st star. He comes out, he skates at center ice, and he turns back around, and he points his stick at my daughter in the front row right there. And he skates over, tosses his stick over the glass to her. And that was like, oh my God, I couldn't even explain how freaking cool a moment that was. And to make things even better, the Kings media put like a GoPro type camera and tape it to the end of the stick. So all of that footage of him skating around and then tossing it to her was all on like a point of view shot as well. There's a really cool picture that lakings.com posted and all of their socials of like a overhead shot with him handing it over, and her face is just up there like that. I actually have it right here.
She's getting a puck, which, I mean, that right there, oh my gosh, you're getting a puck from a player. Then to get a stick to go with it. Oh, my goodness.
She got the puck from her favorite player, Brant Clark. And then at the end of the game, she gets the stick here, if you can see.
And is that an autograph on there?
It's an autograph. Yeah, it's not game.
Right there on the heel.
Not game used or anything. It's a Kings team logo stick, and they signed it. And that was just one of the most amazing nights. And she's like, Dad, this is one of the greatest nights of my life. Thank you so much. And I was like, you know what? I would do anything for you kids, and I'm so happy that you got to share this moment. And don't count on that ever happening again, because that's a once in a lifetime kind of a thing. She's a pretty spoiled kid. I love my kids to death, and I do like to take them to events and stuff like that. But she is my Kings cohort. I mean, she knows more about the team than I do half the time. And she's like, Dad, when are we going to go again? We're going to go again. So That was my moment, an amazing moment, a moment that will last forever, and memories made for a lifetime. So take your kids.
The best part.
Yeah, if you have a chance to get to a hockey game, whether it be, an AHL, an ECHL game, a PWHL game, NHL, go enjoy it, because it's a feeling. I mean, the adrenaline when you're at a game, and then all the atmosphere, everything just makes for such a fun time. And hockey is such a great sport, and it's a great family sport. So I highly encourage, if you've never been to a game, go to a game, or watch one on TV. Get into it, because hockey is such a great sport. It's for everybody.
Yeah, that look on my son's face. The Hawks scored the first goal of the game, and the goal horn sounded, and both of the kids, they just went, "Whoa,
Right.
What is this?" And
Yeah.
then the goal song starts playing, and they, oh yeah, did it. Oh, we can do this. Okay, yeah, we can get it on this. We can do.
So
we can do
they're singing Chelsea Dagger around the house now, right?
They're singing Dagger. They're dancing around.
Oh,
And that's the best part of the holidays is the memories that you're able to make with the kids. And it could not have been a better experience the whole way around.
I'm so happy for you, Adam. That is great. I knew about the PWHL game you were going to, but that story and your daughter and the experience of going on the ice, that is amazing.
The smile on her face. My wife got to help her get into her gear. Then I helped her get out, because they only let one parent be in the locker room at a time. That look on my daughter's face of she's physically, oh man, she skated. It was a full-on game. They also, then they finished, when the game was done, they let everybody take a penalty shot before getting off the ice. They kept the goalies out there, so the goalies were trying to stop it. So it was an experience for them too. But every kid got to do a penalty shot on United Center. Skating like 60 minutes, a 60-minute game, and then doing a penalty shot, and then getting back into the locker. She was exhausted. You could see the physical.
Yeah.
We went to eat, and she literally laid down in the booth afterwards because she was so physically tired. But the look on her face was bright, cheery. Dad, I can't wait to do this again. The look all over.
And you're like, absolutely. If you want to do it, I am all for it. And then you might see her practicing in the backyard or something like that one day, just out of nowhere. This could be something that could be, life changing.
She had her first practice since going to United Center last night. Everybody commented she was skating faster. She had a little more pep. She had a little more determination. She scored 2 goals in practice, and that was
really
that was all I heard about last night, was how she was just a little bit more focused at practice last night.
Wow. That's magical. That is so great, man.
It was a thing. It was a time well spent.
Yeah.
All right. With that, that's going to do it for our show here tonight. Thank you to our sponsors. Once again, Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet. Go to planetjerky.net to place your order. They're offering free shipping on all orders of $50 and above. Thank you also to Vital Apparel, a brand that not only fits great, but also promotes and donates to mental health research. When you go to vitalapparel.com, use the promo code IESR, and you get 15% off of their comfortable and inspiring footwear. Be sure to follow along with Citation. We are on Twitter. We are on TikTok. We are on YouTube at IE Sports Radio. You can also follow along. He is at Freddie B_sports. I am at Adam_Karnik. Thank you to everybody who's hanging out in the chat room with us tonight. Brian Francione, Mike Two Guns, Aaron Rodriguez, thank you for hanging out with us here this evening. Really do appreciate you being here. Thank you, whether you were listening to the show live tonight, whether you were listening on later on as a podcast. Thank you for being here with us. It's your first show, or you've been listening for a long time. If you got questions, concerns, hop on the socials, let us know. We'd love to talk about it. We'd love to dive into it. Otherwise, we will see you right back here next Wednesday night, diving in and getting into everything happening in the hockey world. For IE Sports Radio, he is Freddie B. I am Adam Karnik. Together we do this thing called the Neutral Zone every Wednesday night. We will see you right back here next Wednesday. Have a fantastic week, everybody.
Good night. Go Kings.